Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's the host, Tashana, the hostess with the mostest, the snaggletooth one. Let's get into this. So, hi guys. Before we get into the topic, I just want to say I've been getting some really heavy downloads, and I hope that you all are doing well, taking care of yourselves, praying, fasting, of course, drinking your water, eating your fruits and vegetables, and really just trying to stay as obedient and in alignment as possible. I do want that for y'all. Okay, I love that for y'all. But if you haven't been following along, then we have been going over the rules and the laws of the spiritual, water, and land realms. The creator had told me to turn this into a series. We did kind of get into the minutia a few days ago, and then the day before yesterday, we discussed kind of like the intro, right? So I just wanted to get into some of the spiritual components. All right, there's a lot to break down. I'm going to try to make this as concise as possible. There is a lot to cover, so I'm still going to try to take my time, all right, with this. Now, if this is your first time listening, understand that you might need to go back to even like follow along, but I'll try to catch you up here, okay? So we talked about the rules and the laws of the spiritual and land and water dimensions or realms, okay? There are different rules and laws that govern these spaces, and people who practice spirituality, whether it's good or bad, need to be aware of these things so that they don't go around breaking rules and laws and creating unnecessary karma for themselves or their bloodline, right? Obviously, if you are doing bad things with your gifts, you don't probably really care about breaking any rules or laws, right? But that's up to you. Go ahead and take that risk. That's on you, shorty. All right. Just to get into it, laws are established by larger bodies for larger bodies. Rules are established to get differences, agreements, in relationships and understandings in order for certain groups, okay? Just in a nutshell, all right? Because we went over that, I don't want to spend too much time on that. Now, when you look at spirituality, we did discuss how nothing that you do in the spiritual world is forgiven, right? So whatever it is that you put out, you're going to get in the spirit world. Of course, we'll get to the rules and lands of land and water, but we're gonna go in with spirituality, okay? So first and foremost, to all my spiritualists, so if you do any kind of work where you are receiving monetary gain or physical compensation, so if you are a mind reader, if you're a tarot card reader, if you're a psychic, if you do necromancy, if you do hypnosis, if you are an intercessor, a pastor, anything that allows you to collect finances or physical or tangible gifts or rewards, right? Directly from people in exchange for your gifts, you might want to be careful, okay? Of course, we know not to just take stuff from people. And of course, we know not to just provide these services just to anyone, right? As a person who has been endowed with these gifts, you need to understand that the rules and the laws pertain to you, especially if you're going to be using your gifts as a service for money, right? All of the spiritual people get their gifts to help people. Once you go into collecting things in exchange, you are now entering the realm of the person you're providing assistance or this service to. Once they give you any kind of currency, they're giving you their energy. So you're taking their energy. It's very important to understand that there needs to be a grand boundary created for anyone who has decided to collect money. Of course, God wants us to benefit. Children of God don't beg for bread, right? So he gives us these gifts in order for us to survive. Some people, like myself, I'm not really big on taking money to assist people when I'm using my gifts, simply because I was instructed not to do so. I have a lot of gifts where I can even play the lottery and like win money, but I was told not to do that. Okay, so I like to be obedient. Sometimes if I'm in a rut and I need money, I'll ask God if I can play some numbers, and he's like, whatever, go ahead. But I told you not to do that, right? It's all circumstantial. It's all based upon the intention behind it. And you need to also understand that their intention coming towards you, if it is not good, you would also share the karma with them. Especially if you're taking money, that's double karma, okay? One, for taking the money in exchange for a gift that you receive for free. And secondly, causing harm to someone. It doesn't matter if they did anything or not, okay? The only way this would make a difference is if you have been a designated person to cause hell or bang the gavel down, or as I would like to say, bring the blues, right, to these particular people that you have been paid to attack or work with or work on or whatever. If you are doing something good, obviously, you won't be getting bad karma, but you do need to understand that there is still a level of karma that comes with you going into people's energy. If you haven't been given the clearance by the Creator, if whatever you're looking into them for doesn't have anything to do with you directly, and especially if you're not doing it for a purpose that is beneficial to all, like everyone in the universe, right? Not just the realm. I'll give you an example. If you wanted to pray for a person, right? And you're like, okay, this person is in school, they're gonna be a lawyer, and they're destined to be this really great lawyer, and you know that because God has given you the gift of seership, discernment, you're a prophet, right? And you pray for this person, but you pray for this person to come near you or be put in your direct line of sight so you can benefit from them. Even though you're not causing harm, even though you are praying for them to prevail, you're still praying for them. That has nothing to do with the greater good of everyone. So you're going to get in trouble. Okay? If you are stepping in between dimensions for people, so the gift of seership, if you're using that for people, if you are doing altars for people, if you are contacting the dead, if you are performing rituals, if you are putting yourself directly in the middle of someone else, and if you have to use your gifts to contact or be placed in the spiritual world, right? You have to understand that you are putting yourself in the line of fire, especially if you haven't been given the clearance by the Creator to communicate, to speak over, to speak to speak for, like whatever it is that you're doing, you need to make sure that what you're communicating with is even earthbound. You need to make sure the energies that you are dealing with are a part of the vibrational sequence and frequency of not just your own, of the dimension that you are currently in. Because what happens is, if you go to contacting spirits and entities doesn't have to necessarily be demons, but I'm saying entities because it's multiple different energies that can be an entity, right? Any kind of spirits, if you're contacting them and they are in a dimension or a frequency that is not a vibrational match for where you are, then you're pulling them, and that would mean you're totally dismantling the energy and the frequency where they are, and you're pulling them out of the frequency that they are supposed to be in according to the creator. Okay? You're disrupting the frequency of the realm that they are currently in, whether they are living a new life, whether they are just floating around waiting to be born into this dimension or another. And that is another thing. If they're on the way back here, you might be able to get away with it depending on what it is that you're communicating for and who. And if they are intergalactic beings, meaning they have been given the power and the permission to float in between dimensions in one timeline, right? So if they can, be in the seventh heaven, if they can go to Mars, if they can come to Earth, if they can assist you in dreamland, like all of these different realms have different vibrations and different spaces. Same timeline, different realms, different dimensions, different frequencies and vibrations. This timeline that we're in is all this lifetime, okay? The only timelines that are different is if someone has passed over and they've come back to this realm in particular, okay? Or if, like I said, they're intergalactic being, if they have the power and the permission to float in between different realms and dimensions, okay? It's very important for you to understand that the use of your spiritual gifts is totally your responsibility, and you cannot use them to attack people. You cannot use them. You're not supposed to use them for money unless God has given you the permission, not the ability. We all gifted people, especially depending on your bloodline, okay, have the ability to, have all of these gifts and use them to assist anyone who God has called you to assist. Once you start collecting tangible anything in exchange for this service, you have to realize you may be in violation, because maybe the thing that, or the energy I should say, you're communicating with is not even supposed to be communicated with for whatever reason. They might be on punishment, okay? And now you're breaking a law, and it's a spiritual law. Not even if they're in another vibration and you have to remove them and you're disrupting it. Simply just because they're where they are for a reason and they're supposed to be there for a particular time, and now you're disrupting the word of the Creator. So a lot of people who are doing good work, and you are praying for people, and you're, doing this communication and whatever it is that you're doing, if it's not dark and evil and heavy, because sometimes it can be good but still heavy, okay? Dark doesn't always mean heavy. I might make this one part 2, I'm not sure, but we're gonna talk about the use of our gifts in these realms, okay? But I'm gonna end it here. I do love y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed y'all weekend. I hope y'all are drinking your water, eating your fruits and vegetables, and sipping on your own tea because it's free. I'm gonna have a camera very soon. All right, love y'all. Peace.